heading into this week, and we're all wondering whether President Biden would change his mind on seeking re-election. Well, whomever had his ear convinced him to do just that. Biden has since thrown his support behind his VP, Kamala Harris, a campaign that raised nearly $50 million in just 7 hours after its launch. Global's Washington Bureau Chief Jackson Proskow joins us with the very latest. All right, Jackson, we got to begin with Kamala. How likely is Kamala to be the nominee?
Well, good morning to both of you. This is moving really, really fast in her direction. Joe Biden's delegates are essentially released. They can back whoever they want. But Harris already has the endorsement of Biden himself, of the Clintons, of a lot of top Democrats in the House and the Senate, a lot of the state governors. They're all falling in line. And those state delegations are now pledging their delegates to her as well. So it is not inconceivable that before this week is over, she has a majority of the pledged delegates, and then the party can perhaps move ahead with a virtual roll call ahead of its convention to formalize her as the nominee. This is all assuming, though, that there's no serious challenger to her. If there is, then maybe we're looking at a brokered convention less than a month from now. But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like this is moving in her direction very, very fast.
So what does this mean for the campaign moving forward for the Democrats, Jackson? How does Harris poll against Trump? Is she polling, I mean, this is early, but is she polling better than Biden did?
Yeah, she's polling better than Biden did. She's basically within the margin of error against Trump. And of course, those polls were all based on hypotheticals. So you can expect those numbers to change once she actually becomes the candidate, if she actually becomes the candidate. What this really does, though, is it flips the script, right? Up until now, we've been talking about how Biden was too old, and we've been talking about his cognitive abilities and his ability to keep on serving. Well, all of a sudden, Donald Trump is the oldest presidential nominee in American history. And those questions about age and fitness to serve, they all fall to him all of a sudden. And I can tell you, Republicans are not happy about this. They thought they were going to be running against Joe Biden. Donald Trump is out this morning on social media essentially saying that he's been defrauded by the Democratic Party, saying that they wasted all this time and money running ads against Joe Biden, the guy who's suddenly not in the race anymore.
And before we let you go, Jackson, what more do we know about what or who prompted Biden to drop out?
It was Biden's decision alone, but he was confronted with increasingly dire polling. A key swing state like Michigan, polls out just yesterday, had him down by 7 points against Donald Trump. There was no way he was going to turn that around. There was also the risk that top Democrats like Nancy Pelosi were actually going to come out in public and publicly call on him to step aside. And so I think the risk of embarrassment, of tarnishing his legacy as the man who defeated Donald Trump, all those things really compounded. We're going to hear more from Biden later this week in an address to the nation, but he's still recovering from COVID. So for now, we're just left with that letter in which he says he's not running again.
All right, Jackson Proskow for us in Washington with the very latest this morning. Jackson, thanks as always.